I'm Juintow Lin, and this is Michael Fox, and we are professors of architecture. We also have our own architectural design firm. And 80% of our time in our practice, we are doing, regular projects. And but today we're going to spend time talking about our work in interaction design. So we have always been interested in how technology evolves and how it is interconnected and influences all that we do. While there have always been technological advancements, the advances in architecture have been relatively recent. Only one generation ago, we adopted computers, and these have displaced the tools that we have used for centuries. As technology advances, the tools we use are constantly changing, therefore resulting in what we call feasibility-fueled experimentation. We can experiment with designs at an architectural scale that we would only be able to dream of in the past. So we are starting to finally see an explosion of current exploration due to advances in technology as evidenced in some of the work that's been shown in the symposium to date. This first project that we want to show is called Eco 29. It's a events hall in Israel, and the structure and the fabric move and shape the space. The next project is Inno Bubbles, which is of a lobby in Hong Kong. It's like a 4-story lobby, and each studio is equipped with a sensor letting you know when somebody's working. So for example, people working late at night, the bubbles start to spin. And so when there's more people working, the bubbles are spinning in the lobby. That's Inno Bubbles. And actually, all of these projects are done in collaboration with others. And Axel Killian was one of the people we were fortunate enough to collaborate with on Bubbles. And Bubbles is a series of 16 inflatable pneumatic structures that inflate and deflate and actually make people move as they get bumped by the bubbles and have to have a conversation with other people in the space. And then the other project that is similar to that concept in terms of a large-scale interactive design, which is trying to serve as a method to connect people in urban environments, is Neural Sky. Neural Sky is a project we did at Coachella, whereby when one person comes into this structure on one side and somebody else goes to another end of the structure, a light connects them through like this neural network.
This one is about kind of community awareness, and maybe I'll show this one for a second. But this one kind of gives you a bit of a moire effect, and it essentially only works when there's kind of people on either side of this, and it's kind of became this object to make people notice each other and be aware of each other, and it had to do with kind of a critique on this building. It's a new building by Zaha, and there's kind of no lobby, and so everybody's kind of passing through the space, and there's no kind of social interaction anymore. But it was pretty successful in that respect, in kind of making people notice each other. And I think this next one, this next one, on a similar vein, I won't even maximize this time, was really dealing with the idea of kind of using a project that could have the capacity to both promote social fugal and social pedal interactions. So in other words, something that could kind of differentiate between bringing people together and pulling them apart. So what the students did in this one is they really they studied the traffic patterns throughout this very busy corridor, and then made an intervention where it could kind of be adjusted for the traffic flows, and then at certain times even stop people and make a little room within the space, and your traffic flows are completely blocked. And it's just kind of a start of a conversation of, in architecture we always have to understand behaviors enough to predict them, and then we design for them. But maybe we can take it a little further to actually be able to control them. And I don't want to get in any kind of Patrick Schumacher conversations here, but But I think it's pretty interesting that you can really kind of be able to control these social interactions at this scale. And with all of these, like these ones are student projects, and the, you know, what the students have to do is really video and study the interactions of people with these projects for 2 weeks after they're built, and that's as part of the report, is really understanding the success or not the successes. So I want to talk a little about control, how we, I think I've been super interested in control then, in control in the sense of how we interact with things. And what we did is we made a whole room. We essentially connected the doors and the windows and made it possible for you just to gesturally interact with this space. You know, that you could kind of have the space learn in an adaptive way what your gestural language is, and you could then control these things. Taking that then, I think, a step further in this, you know, I've done a lot of these kind of projects where we're really looking at control at different resolutions. In that one, it's kind of using Connect just to understand body language. And this one, I think, is a little different in that this is using, I don't even know if they still exist. It's called a leap sensor. But in this sense, we're really kind of looking at catalyzing this design so that it kind of evolves and you learn how to play with the design, almost like, I hate to say it, but almost like an instrument. And that you learn how to interact. And it gets increasingly difficult when they're complex and there's no instructions, et cetera. With this next one, I think, you know, beyond that sense of play, done a number of these projects of where the environment really becomes like an instrument. And you learn to play this instrument, and there's different levels. So you can start at very kind of simple levels of learning how to, you essentially rub on this fabric, and it plays this music. And it becomes a very sophisticated instrument, and you know, is super interesting in the time after it was completed to watch people learn how to play this. And they actually got really good playing this fabric in a corridor. 1 minute. But the last one I want to show is it's kind of interesting. It's about the motion of emotion, and on this same vein of like making an environment that you can play with. In this project, there's basically a study of games and people's addiction to things like Candy Crush and these types of phone games that are incredibly addictive. And there's really no way to solve this game, and it gets incredibly frustrating. And it was pretty hilarious.
The first one, you don't know where the problem.
And so, just you know, in conclusion, I think this kind of learning ability, how you can not design something that's just there, but something that people learn to play with. So you're kind of catalyzing a design that evolves over time, and this tends to engage people much better as they learn to play these things over time, and they kind of feel like they understand it. And in concluding, thanks. And I just want to say that we have six of these kind of large-scale new projects in China, and the job fair continues, not for academia, but for our architectural office. We really need help. We're a little nervous because they're permanent exhibits, so please tell anybody you think is capable and would like to do fun projects. Thank you.
Thank you.